Welcome to Balls and Brew. Rod, let's go, buddy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us here for another production live on Facebook. Maybe you're checking out later on YouTube. Maybe you're watching it later on Spotify. We are the Morgan, Podcasting Network. My name is Rod Morgan. We are going to bring to you right now Balls and Brew. That is our sports show. That is the show that our football handicapper, Josh Williams, will be coming up here in just a few minutes. That's when he will give you picks all throughout the year. We are winding down our division preview series, getting ever closer to the Wins League draft. That will be an absolute battle. That is a podcast you cannot miss. The man making all of this possible, making the videos possible, putting up the shorts that you can check out on YouTube Shorts or Facebook Reels, or maybe even Instagram Reels. We're trying to get into the Instagram world recently. That's something that I have committed to doing. The man basically running this ship, and he just doesn't have his name on the podcast, and he probably should because he does more work than I do. It's the man, James Thomas Jamariska. Jimmy, hello.
I really need to figure out the business Facebook account that lets us also post to Instagram right away. I'm getting there, though. I'm getting there.
See, this is why he's the producer, folks. And he is the old man. He likes crunching the numbers. He likes playing contrarian to Williams. He is essential during the football season because he rarely ever has the same take about football as the other three of us, and that's why we love him. He's our guy, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What is up, fellas? How's everybody doing today? We are, 2 weeks away from the start of the season?
Yeah, fantasy draft season is huge out there right now. Ours will be coming up shortly. 3 members of this podcast playing a fantasy league together. The 4th is too good to play with us, but we won't go into that here on the podcast. That 4th member is our football handicapper, the man who crunches the numbers and has too many of his own daily fantasy leagues to even deign to play fantasy football with the peons like us. He's our guy, Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
Not too good to play with you guys. Just
yes, you are.
17 different things going on during the NFL season. So, but yeah, I've got a ton to get to. So I'm not even. I don't even want to mess around with the intro here. I'm ready to go. NFC North, baby.
I got one quick, cold, open question for us. It shouldn't take incredibly long. I found myself falling down an old Family Feud rabbit hole the other day, whether it was Richard Dawson, whether it was Combs, whether it's current day Steve Harvey. And I'm not going to ask you a question about the Family Feud. I'm going to broaden it out here. Jimmy Jam, any game show throughout history, I'm giving you a time machine. You get to go appear as a contestant. What game show is it?
It's another Richard Dawson original. We're talking Match Game from back in the day when that dirtball was saying all these double entendres and doing all this stuff, touching, kissing people. Not that that's why I want to be on the show, but I really enjoyed the show, and I want to win that like $400, man. I'm pumped.
That's what I was about to ask you. I was like, are we living in a scenario where somehow you won a contest and you get to be a panelist on Match Game? But no, you want to be an actual contestant trying to guess what Brett and all the Brett Perkins and all of them up there are saying, huh?
All of them. I love that show so much. It's so fun.
Nice. All right, Match Game. Jimmy's starting us off with Match Game. Chris, you go way back with game shows. I mean, back when they were black and white, the originals, right? When they had the scandal and they were fudging numbers behind the scenes. What game show are you going to go on? I'm interested.
You're thinking about the quiz show run of
Correct.
The 60s infamous fame. But no, I have to go a little bit newer than that. I would die if I could get on the OG Press Your Luck. No
Nice.
whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop.
Nice.
Loved
Have you seen that documentary about the guy who figured out the pattern? That's a good
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
That
Good
guy's
stuff.
an idiot.
Yeah, he definitely is. Didn't like that guy very much, but he figured out that game, so kudos to him for that. Williams, come on now. Are you going to stump the Schwab on us? Are you going to stay in kayfabe here with complete football character?
Oh man, Stump the Schwab was awesome. I love Press Your Luck also. I'm gonna go. I mean, me being a poker player, I got to go Card Sharks, right? I got to go Bob Eubanks, late '80s Card Sharks. You know, when you skip school back in the day, Card Sharks was definitely on, along with Price is Right, along with Press Your Luck. So yeah, man, I got to go.
You skipped school to watch Card Sharks.
No, I mean like
when
you're halfway hurt, when you're halfway sick, you know.
It's like on at 2:00 in the afternoon. Great time.
Oh yeah.
I'm going old school as well. I'm going back to the 70s. I'm going back to a game show that was hosted in a grand hall with what seemed like a studio audience of like 1,000 people. And then the man, Monty Hall, was walking up and down the aisles with money in his pocket. And he was giving you, do you want this box? Do you want this curtain? Do you want that? Put me on Let's Make a Deal in 1976. Dressed up like a weird cowboy or something. Who knows what I would have dressed up like back in 76 when I went on Press Your Luck. But let me stand up there with the king dealer himself, Monty Hall. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I the only thing with that, I feel they really screwed over the audience more often than not. You know, you go, hey, a new car or a thumbtack.
Yeah, oh, for sure. You definitely could get the raw end of the deal on that show. But then the other thing is if you go and you don't actually even get on TV, you could get handed a Chris $50 bill from Monty Hall just for having a paperclip in your purse. Like, I used to love that too. And he was just throwing money at people as the credits were rolling.
I would have my pockets full of random type crap. Like, give me like a C battery in one pocket, you know, like a thumbtack or paperclip. All kinds of random stuff just in case.
Absolutely. And you could also tell that like the Price is Right had the great contracts with the top end appliances because the appliances that you could always win on Let's Make a Deal are companies that are long since folded and nobody's ever heard of. You're like, whoa, I don't know about that dishwasher. I've never heard of that company before. That thing probably lost for 6 months.
That's awesome.
You'd get Kenmore appliances on Price is Right.
That's
Heck
right.
Yeah. So, hey, Rod, before we get started with the NFC North, because I know Williams is ready to go, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to go to Chris and Williams as well. But, Rod, I want to go to you first. This time next week, is Anthony Richardson an Indianapolis Colt? Yes or no?
Let me answer it this way. He has every right to go out there and say that he does not want to be. He has every right in my book to say that he does not want to be. Trades in the NFL are possible if the Colts decide they want to just get basically nothing for him, much the same way that the San Francisco 49ers had to throw Trey Lance out of town to Chris's Dallas Cowboys. So I think he's still going to end up being on the team because Chris Ballard and the brain trust down there does exactly the opposite of what I'd like him to do. So I say he's going to still be on the team.
So Chris King, Riley Leonard looked pretty good. Golden Domer. I was at the game. Really enjoyed it. By the way, that was a touchdown at the end of the game. You can't ever say it wasn't. But Chris, is Anthony Richardson on the Colts next week? His agent came out today and says he doesn't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to be on the Colts. I don't think anything's going to happen this early unless somebody gets hurt in between now and then. I don't think he goes anywhere. He sticks with Indianapolis. And I think for my money, he should stay. I think we should play him, throw him out there until he can't play anymore or he absolutely succeeds or fails. Let's find out.
Williams, this crew has not made a good decision about a quarterback yet, I don't think. I think they're going to release him. What are your thoughts?
I can't see that. He doesn't have any leverage. I mean, this is what, year 3? I mean, I feel like you still need like 2 more years to see Anthony Richardson. I don't get it. I haven't gotten this whole Anthony Richardson hate from the start. I'm hoping we get to see more of him than Danny Dimes this year in Indianapolis. Let me say, even if he fails, I want to see more of him. You know what you have in Danny Dimes.
I want him to fail. I want him to come out there and fail so that we absolutely know what we have. I am absolutely disgusted with my favorite football team, the Indianapolis Colts, and this ties nicely into the NFC North this way, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm so disappointed in you.
I'm flip-flopping. I'm flip-flopping this year. Bear down.
You're rooting for your team.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. No, hold on, Chris. I didn't say I'm rooting against the Colts. I said I'm flip-flopping them, all right? Bears are number 1 this year. Colts are number 2. I'm so angry. This is pathetic. Why do I care about Danny Dimes, who's a complete washout, being our quarterback for 1 year on a $16.5 million contract? This shows us nothing. This is nothing for the future. We're building on nothing. Danny Dimes is not going to help bring our receivers up. He's not going to help Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. He's just wasting away this great offensive line. We are going nowhere with Daniel Dimes at quarterback. At least you play Anthony Richardson and you find out he stinks and you have your absolute answer. Right now, everything's still up in a puff, and we're playing Daniel Jones. I'm so disgusted with this football team, and I'm too old to put up with something that frustrates me. So, Bears, let's go. I'm all in. Williams, tell me all about the Bears.
You want me to go Bears first?
Yep. He's flipping the script, Williams. Flipping the script.
Bears over 8.5 plus 115, under 8.5 minus 135. Years of incompetence by this organization is finally over. No rookie quarterback would have succeeded in the outdated scheme that the Bears ran last year. Caleb Williams had no protection, and worse yet, it was coaching malpractice at the top with Eberflus and Shane Fraudrin is what I like to call him. When OC Shane Fraudrin was let go, they brought in Thomas Brown as OC. In the next 4 weeks, we got 3 top 5 performances in fantasy. That was under Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown, I say now. Now we get our Lord and Savior, Ben Johnson, at the helm. All our dads would say, now we're cooking with Crisco, boys. How bad was the play calling on third downs last year? These were just some of the third down stats. The Bears were 30th in having the most third downs on their drives, 32nd in EPA, 31st in success rate, 32nd in yards per attempt. The Bears were predictable last year. They were in shotgun 80% of the time. No disguise, no rhythm. Detroit last year with Ben Johnson was number 1 in play action rate. The Bears ended 2024 as the 4th worst O-line in the league per PFF. Now, after adding Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, and Jonah Jackson to the interior of the O-line, they come into this year as the 4th best O-line per PFF. The Bears went from bottom 2 in O-line spending to top 10. You might want to take notice, Cincinnati Bengals, as your O-line has finished bottom 5 4 years in a row. Just saying.
Yeah, the Bears aren't paying their receivers as much as the Bengals are, but I hear you.
Yeah, Thuney led all guards in pass blocking win rate each of the last 4 seasons. Jackson was at his best when he played under Ben Johnson in Detroit. And then Dahlman was PFF's number 5 center last year. Great run blocking grade. And Ben Johnson comes in as the head coach. He's led a top 5 offense in Detroit for the last 3 years in a row. They had Colston Loveland, who will split out the speedster wide receiver Luther Burden in the draft. Roma Dunze, 87% success rate versus press man coverage. I think they'll line him more up at X receiver. So, I'll give you a stat here I think most wouldn't realize. 2024 quarterbacks with 5+ rushing attempts per game and 5+ yards per carry. Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Drake May, Anthony Richardson, and that last quarterback on that list, Caleb Williams. Look, after decades of getting it wrong, yes, Chris, I admit the Bears have gotten it wrong for decades.
No question.
This is the beginning of something real. They are finally on their way to building something special in the great town of Chicago.
See, this is what I'm talking about, Chris. This is what I'm talking about. Everything that Williams just said right there is absolute excitement. We led this podcast with despair and questioning and not understanding anything that our Indianapolis Colts are doing. And Williams just came on here and gave you a myriad of reasons why this Bears team is going to be fabulous and fun to watch. You can be disappointed in me all you want, Chris. I'm not scorning the Colts. I'm just flip-flopping them, all right? I'm just flip-flopping them. This year, I'm a Bears man first and a Colts man second.
Chris's rebuttal?
I don't even know where to start with this, with the shenanigans that's going on with your fandom. All right, you're the worst type of fair weather fan there is.
How dare you have 2 teams that you root for, Rod? Who would ever do that in the NFL? Have 2 teams in different conferences that they root for. Chris, I'm backing you. You are a truth teller.
You're not backing me because I have 4 teams I root for, right? 2 in each division. But Rod just flip-flops all the time. If his team, which he's the supposed fan of, doesn't do what he wants, that he has no control over what they do.
Have you met him?
I'm just saying, it's getting worse and worse. Every week it seems to get worse and worse. He does it in wrestling now, which he had never done until just recently. He flipped on Phil, and it is just driving me nuts, and I can't stand it anymore.
He's still not about to see a thing from a month ago. Rod, I love it. This is everyone tune in every week to listen to this stuff because Chris holds grudges. We love it.
He absolutely holds grudges. He certainly does. Williams, I do want to admit this to you, okay? I told Jimmy this in the pre-show before you gentlemen joined us and we started taping. I was going to come in here with a completely different take. I was going to come in here with Bears fans should be worried. Caleb Williams, we weren't hearing great things. Mike Sando's quarterback rankings came out, and there were a lot of people questioning Caleb Williams, right? We know that not every quarterback in a draft class hits. Every guy in Caleb's draft class has looked pretty good so far, and I was ready to go the other way, and then the Colts put Danny Dimes as a starting quarterback, and Caleb Williams came out and looked like he was touched by the hand of God, and I'm all in, baby. We'll never know how they thrilled the nation with their T formation. Let's go.
Look, I know it was preseason, and a lot in preseason doesn't mean anything. But if you followed the Bears for however long me and Jimmy have followed the Bears for, you know that this is different. Ben Johnson's attention to detail is what the Bears needed, and maybe it doesn't correlate to winning the division this year. I'm not sure, but I know that this is a step in the right direction for this Bears organization.
Let's go. Bears, 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 Bears. We're going to rival the Schwartzkys with our Bear fandom on this podcast this year. You thought I was obnoxious when I said get the Bears train rolling and I was shoveling the coal from the front, begging Williams and Jimmy to get on with me? This year, they're already on. They're up front with me shoveling the coal. Let's go, baby. Who can possibly bring this Bears train down? There are 3 other teams in the division. And the boys thought we were starting with the Packers, and I switched it up on them, but now let's go to the Packers because we all love the Packers as Bear fans.
Speaking of teams that can bring the Bears down, Williams, let's go.
Yeah, Packers over 9.5 minus 125, under 9.5 even money. And you said it, Rod. There's 3 other teams along here with the Bears, and I still think a lot of people think the Bears are going to finish last in this division. The non-Chicago people. Chris is nodding his head over there. And this division was awesome. I think this division is the best division in football. The Packers had a ton of wide receiver depth, but they were only 30th though in pass attempts last year. They were 5-5 in one-score games. The losses were due to. Remember when I went on a rant and said that Green Bay is just a stupid team, and Jimmy loved it, and then all the Green Bay fans hated me. The losses were due to inefficient play calling, bad fourth down decisions, and inexperienced wide receiver play. Like, they have the talent. I'm not questioning Green Bay's talent. And check this out: Jordan Love pre-bye, playing through injury, had the 32nd ranked average yards per attempt and negative EPA per attempt. Post-bye, with a healthy Love, he was 5th best in the NFL in EPA per attempt, 2nd best average yards per attempt. Those numbers would have been even better if it wasn't for his wide receivers having the worst wide receiver air rate in the league at 8%. Those are drops, missed toe taps, routes cut short. And here's where the pack ain't so hot. 27th in 4th down conversion rate, 30th in 4th and 1 conversion rate. And in the last 3 years, they've only attempted 5 quarterback sneaks. Makes so much sense now why the Packers were the team that tried to get the tush-push banned, huh? I feel like LaFleur definitely was the young kid who threw a hissy fit at Christmas when he didn't get his Christmas present that he wanted. I mean, I can't wait for Week 10 Monday Night Football versus Philly on ABC. The Packers, I can't wait till Philly attempts like 17 random tush pushes against the Pack. You showed your hand, Green Bay. Now you got to give the cards given to you. Philly's coming for you. The Packers breakdowns on 4th down play calling over the last 3 years. Get this: the running back runs on 4th down, 38% success. Pass plays when they call on 4th down, 50% success. But here comes the funny part: QB sneaks, they were 80%. So LaFleur needs to call the QB sneak in those short yardage situations a much larger frequency of the time. And here's another thing where Micro Machine Matt outsmarts himself. When the Packers use motion before the snap on a run play, and they do it at the 2nd highest rate in the league, they are much worse on that run play based off EPA per rush and success rate and explosiveness. And over the last 2 years without motion in front of the running plays, they rank number 1 in EPA per rush and number 1 in success rate. The Packers play 3 short week road games this season. This is the most in the NFL, according to Sharp Football Analytics. And they also rank the Pack having a bottom 10 front 7 on defense. Just the last note there on the Packers.
All right, Jimmy, there's a lot of talent on Green Bay, clearly. Green Bay has a history of playing spoiler to the Bears. They've been in the running in the NFC North for a bunch of years. But do we really know what Jordan Love is, Jimmy? Are you confident in laying down and telling people this is what Jordan Love is? Because I kind of feel like it's a bit of a roller coaster there with him, a little up and down. Certainly some injuries played there, but what do you think?
Well, I think last year was supposed to be the year, but he got hurt in the first game and then was really hurt the entire season. We just didn't really know it. And they finally got him some receivers. This really is going to be telling, though, because the Bears have upped their game, obviously. A couple other teams we've talked about have been there as well. So really, this is the year for Jordan Love to come out and do something. Oh, wait, he's hurt again with that broken thumb or finger, I think, right?
Exactly. It seems like he's snake bitten there. All right, Chris, you did not buy our Bears hype. You were disgusted by all of the bear down singing that was going on. Do you believe it is the Packers the Bears should be worried about, or is it your faithful Lions that we'll get to in a second?
Well, I mean, the Bears should be worried about everybody in this division. All right, there's no New York Giants.
No.
There's no New Orleans Saints, right, in this division. So if it doesn't matter who you are or where you're playing, every game is going to be tough. I do think that the Bears will finish fourth and the Packers third, because I'm with you, Jimmy. I still don't know what to think about Jordan Love, right? Like if I'm ranking quarterbacks, I wouldn't know if I'm putting him above or below Dak Prescott, and that's kind of where I have my medium range at. And I don't know if he's better or worse. That's tough to decipher. So until he is consistently showing us good things, I can't have a whole lot of faith in him.
Yeah, I hear you there, because I certainly question Jordan Love, but you saying that you think they might be third really perked my ears up a little bit there. Williams, do you think Chris is okay to say that Jordan Love might be the worst quarterback in this division when we've never seen J.J. McCarthy QB a snap for the Vikings and he's now their day one starter?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Jordan Love at his peak could be the best quarterback in this division, but at his worst, he could be last. These four teams aren't. They're all packed together pretty tightly, in my opinion, this year. So it depends on health a lot. I think Jordan Love has tried to do a little too much on third downs, but I think his wide receivers have let him down. Also, that what we just talked about. So if his wide receivers come around and they seemingly have a lot of talent, can they stay on the field healthy? Is the question for Green Bay.
Well, there we go. We should move on to the Vikings, since I just teased them there, and we'll save Chris's Lions to the end, because Chris may have a big impassioned plea about his Dan Campbell-led boys at the end there, the way we fired up about the Bears. But I said it right there, Williams. J.J. McCarthy, I got zero idea what to expect from this guy. He was, I'm not going to say completely carried along to a victory on that Michigan team, because, he certainly contributed, but Harbaugh wasn't leaning on him nearly as hard as he was leaning on that defense and that run game. So I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is, but he was handed the keys to a team that won 14 games last year. So clearly there's talent there.
Yeah, I've got a ton here on the Vikings. The Vikings are a very intriguing team to me. Over 9.5 plus 105, under 9.5 minus 125. So the juice is to the under there, but that number opened at 8.5 in the summer, and it has since taken super sharp money to the over. I'll give you some fantasy tidbits here. Last year, Aaron Jones had 14 carries inside the 5-yard line last year. His total yardage on those 14 carries inside the 5-yard line, -4 yards. The Vikings massively upgraded their O-line in the offseason by taking a left guard with their first pick in the draft, and they also got Will Fries and Ryan Kelly from the Colts at center and right guard. They signed Jordan Mason in the offseason at running back to run behind that improved O-line, especially at the goal line. Now, I know it was Shanahan's system in San Francisco that Mason had a good year. In his career, he averaged over 5 yards per carry for San Francisco. But according to Next Gen Stats, out of all qualified running backs, only King Henry and Saquon were better than Jordan Mason in rushing yards over expected per attempt. And Mason was 7th in yards after contact per attempt. And check this out. Look at the most rushing touchdowns season by season the last 3 years. James Cook went from 2 rushing touchdowns in 23 to 16 and 24 behind OC Joe Brady's offense. The year before that, it was Raheem Mostert from the Mike Daniel-led Dolphins offense. No one saw that coming. And the year before that, it was Jamal Williams from the Ben Johnson-led offense. So what else does Jordan Mason have going for him? Just like those last 3 guys, he's got a top 5 offensive play caller in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. Guys, my long shot future bet of the year so far, I think Jordan Mason to lead the league in rushing touchdowns at 70-1 on FanDuel is a very intriguing future bet. Now back to the Vikings here. The Vikings had 14 wins last year. They are projected to only have 8.5 this year. Rookie quarterback coming in. They play the 5th toughest schedule compared to the 15th toughest schedule last season. They had some luck on their way last year. Their opponents only made 77% of their field goals versus them last year. That's 4th fewest in the league. They were 9-1 in one-score games. Only the 11-0 Chiefs were better in one-score games. They were plus 12 in turnovers. That's top 3 in turnover margin. And their opponents had 141 penalties against them. That's most in the league. So the 2022 Vikings, they won 13 games, but their expected win-loss record off their point differential was only 8.5 wins. Last year, the Vikings won 14 games. Their expected win-loss record off their point differential would have been 11 games. So still lucky, but not nearly as lucky as the 2022 Vikings team. The Vikings were number 4 in first down efficient rate last season. They were number 6 in first down motion rate and number 3 in first down play action rate. The result of those play calls, Sam Darnold being number 1 in explosive pass rate on first down and number 2 overall scoring offense in the first quarter in the league. Rod, can O'Connell do that for McCarthy is your question. I think he can. In 2024, the Vikings had the best net rest advantage. That falls down to 21st this season. But on defense, they added Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen to that D-line. They're going to blitz some more under Brian Flores. I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings lead the NFC in sacks in 2025. They upgraded everywhere on this team. The only question is at quarterback, in my opinion, for the Minnesota Vikings.
I'd say it's a pretty fair question at quarterback for the Vikings, absolutely. But, good defensive coordinator, good offensive play caller. The only thing I would say about that is these offensive play callers seem to go up and down. Bobby Slowick was a genius in Houston a couple of years ago, and then he got bagged. Shane Steichen was an absolute genius, and now he's going to get run out of town in Indy. So you only go as far as your quarterback can take you. I'm real worried about J.J. McCarthy, Chris. I frankly, we don't have a lot of track record of a Michigan man being a great quarterback in the NFL other than a guy that nobody thought was going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. So what are your thoughts on the Vikings?
I think them upgrading their offensive line was key, especially if you're going with a rookie quarterback. You want to give somebody like him as much time and room to work in the pocket as possible, right? I do think they upgraded everywhere. I think Kevin O'Connell is, 34-17 in his 3 years as coach of Minnesota. I've been phenomenal since he came there. He's had different quarterbacks every year. He has overperformed expectations when he got Kirk Cousins and everybody wrote him off. So, I'm not going to bet against O'Connell. I think they finished second in the division. Double-digit wins.
Jimmy, your thoughts on the Vikings before we finish up with the Lions?
I just think that I think they're last in the division for some reason. I just don't see it melding for some reason. I don't believe in J.J. McCarthy right now. So if you're going to go against all the sharps, you might as well go with Jimmy. So I believe the Vikings are going to be the bottom of the division. I don't see it.
Well, listen, somebody in the division's got to be bad if the Bears are going to dominate that we all think they are
Correct.
going to dominate. But the team that dominated this division last year, along with the Vikings, we all thought maybe they were going to make a magical run to the Super Bowl, and then it was stopped. To Detroit Lions. What do you got for us? It's crazy times up in Detroit. This is like 3 years in a row now where they've been good. It still feels weird for me to say the NFC powerhouse Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I got a ton on Detroit here. There's some pros and cons here. Over 10.5 for Detroit, plus 115. Under 10.5, minus 130. So most people think Detroit's going under 10.5 wins this year after they had 15 last year. Last year, the Lions had one of the best offenses in modern NFL history. A lot of that had to do with repetitive execution in practice and relentless attention to detail from you-know-who, our Lord and Savior. In 2023, Detroit finished top 10 in just about every offensive metric. But in 2024, they got even better in every single one of those metrics. Out of the 13 advanced offensive categories, Detroit was top 3 in 11 of the 13. The Lions were number 1, points per drive. Number 1, touchdowns per drive. Number 2, yards per drive. Ben Johnson only used shotgun 36% of the time last season. That was the lowest in the league. He keeps defenses off balance with mixing personnel, using a ton of play action, but keeping the same formations for a majority of his plays, but using different plays on every snap. So when defenses are scouting a Ben Johnson-led offense, it's extremely tough to gauge what play is coming because there are no tip-offs. Here's another thing. Johnson also took a page out of Andy Reid's book with one of his biggest philosophies being the best at not getting to third downs. The Lions were number one in shortest average distance to go on third downs. On early downs, they were number 2 in turning downs into first downs and number 2 in avoiding third downs altogether. The run game was elite. Gibbs was number 1 in explosive run rate, and Montgomery was number 3 in success rate. But here's the con here. They have the toughest road strength of schedule in the Super Bowl era this year. They go from playing only 3 outdoor games last year to 7 this year. We know golf splits are better indoors. They have 11 games versus playoff teams. 7 are on the road. And get this stat. Of the other 7 playoff teams that made it into the divisional round of the playoffs last year, the Lions play 5 of those teams. And boy, did they draw the short stick on them because they have to play all 5 of those teams on the road. That is beyond brutal. Here's the pro argument, though, for Detroit. The net rest advantage is massively in their favor this year. They play 8 games where they have a net rest advantage, including 5 games where their opponents are coming off Monday Night Football. That is the most ever. They play just 1 game all year with a net rest disadvantage, and that's only by 1 day, so that's not a huge deal. But they lost Frank Ragnow at center to retirement. That's huge. He was the number 1 ranked center in run blocking each of the first 2 years. He had over 5,500 snaps in his career, only allowed 6 sacks on those snaps. And they also lost offensive guard Kevin Zeitler in free agency to the Titans. So that hurts too. They're going to start a rookie from Georgia at center who's never played center before, alongside 2 younger guards. That's a red flag to me. So it's possible Gibbs and Monty might not be as efficient as people are used to seeing them the last couple of years. But another pro here for defense. The defense, there's no way that they can be as injured as last year. They get Hutchinson back, and Hutchinson is in the running already for Defensive Player of the Year. He's fully recovered from his leg injury. He looks fantastic at training camp, and that Detroit defense should be a little bit better this year.
They had to change the rules in training camp because Hutchinson was blowing up the offensive line too much. So he would blow it up, they'd mark it as a sack and let the play keep going, even though he ended it.
Chris, sounds like you're pretty excited about your Lions up there. What do you think?
I think that Williams has a devout member of the Church of Ben Johnson, it sounds like. Apparently, the only thing that was good about Detroit was their offensive coordinator. It didn't take a whole team or a whole staff to make this the juggernaut of the AFC North. I do think Johnson is a great offensive coordinator. I hope he does have success as a head coach, but we've seen coordinators fail as head coaches because it's a different job. I do think there is a lot to overcome on the offensive line, but I think with our defense, we won't have to score as much. I think the Lions still win 12 games. I don't think they win 15 again, but I think they can win 12.
Detroit lost defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn also. He's the coach of the Jets now. Just throw that in.
Throwing that out there.
Jimmy Jam, that's actually what I was going to throw to you. I was going to be like, this defense that Chris is laying his hat on, they lost their coordinator as well. What do you think the Detroit Lions are going to – how much resistance are they going to supply to our Bears?
It'll be a little bit, but it's too much to overcome. I think losing both coordinators, as you've seen in the past with the Patriots, I mean, even with your Cowboys back in the day, Chris, it does hurt to lose those coordinators. And I think it's going to happen again where you're going to see a little bit of regression. That is a brutal schedule, especially the road games. So they might have a good season. They just might be 8-9. And I don't see where you're getting 12 wins. I really don't.
See, the schedule gremlins again. Like, Williams, you tell me that Detroit has one of the hardest schedules that they've ever seen. Fine, that makes sense to me. They've been a good team for a couple years in a row. But when you tell me the Giants have as hard a schedule as anybody's ever seen, I'm just like, something here is not the absolute same. So I'm going to continue to beat the schedule. Gremlins are weird. I don't understand it in the NFL. But not understanding the NFL is half of the fun. Williams, do you have anything else you want to unload about the NFC North before we close up shop here?
I mean, I just think it's going to be super competitive. I think the NFC is going to beat the hell out of everybody in the NFC. I mean, I think there could be 14 of the 16 teams have between like 7 wins and 11 wins. I don't think any team from the NFC this year is going to win 15 games or even 14 games. They might not even win 13 games. I think the NFC is just so evenly packed, and the AFC is more top heavy. But we'll see 2 weeks from now in our Wins League draft what's going on there.
Well, the AFC is top heavy, and the Colts are going to attack it with Danny Dimes. Just makes you feel warm and fuzzy as a Colts fan, doesn't it? No, it doesn't, and that's why I've moved on from the Colts, and they're number 2, and the Bears are my number 1 team. We'll always remember the way they thrilled the nation. All right, bear down. We got one more division to get to next week. That is the NFC West. If you thought we were excited about the Bears this week, just wait till Williams gets to wax poetic about his guy Kyle Shanahan next week, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have to hose him down.
Who do you love more, Shanahan or Johnson?
Oh, don't make me pick between the chosen one and our Lord and Savior.
Well, that's right.
I think the nicknames say it themselves.
Oh, they sure do. All right, we are going to take a little bit of a break here before producer extraordinaire Jimmy Jam steps into the host chair and we talk about some wrestling on our wrestling show. We call it Yeah, We Know.
Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
I take my rightful place at the head of the table. Believe that.
How's that?
Perfect.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, Rod, and Kate is here as well today. Kate, welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's going great. Is this your first appearance on the Yeah We Know podcast?
Okay, so I came on one other time and one other time only to just rage against the Rhea Ripley machine. Rod and I were talking about this earlier. What was the match? It was,
I think she attacked Beth Phoenix.
That's what it was. It was like super shady, and I was so mad. I was fired up. I was so angry. And then what did we just watch on Netflix? And now I really like her. So,
well, that is what we are going to talk about today. It is WWE Unreal trying to get some new content in and new, I don't know, maybe some new fans for the WWE. Kate, has it worked for you yet?
yes, I like a lot of things about wrestling, but what I really like is the storytelling. I think the branding of WWE is really on point. I do branding for a living. It's an important facet to me, and I love logistics. I wish the Netflix show would have gone into more logistics, but that's probably just me. But yes, I think it's making new fans out of a lot of people.
Chris, are you one of those people like Kate who wants to see the travel agents booking the hotels for all of the different wrestlers and, you know, calling the cities to extort money? I mean, to get them to pay to have somebody come in, and make a WrestleMania there.
I may like some of that. Listen, I like the documentary style film already. It doesn't matter if it's a fake documentary or the real thing. I really do enjoy it. And so part of that does entice me to watch more of these episodes. I've been through an episode and a half, and I think I'm good. I don't think I want to watch anymore.
Oh. You do not like to see behind the curtain.
I like to, I say this every week, I'm a fan, right? And I want to root and boo the people I want to root for and cheer against, you know? So I don't want to see KO and Cody talking after the ladder match when we have just seen them destroy their friendship over the last few months before that. Like, that takes me out of what I enjoy, which is rooting for the people I like and booing the people I hate.
Rod, we have given the biggest conspiracy theorist you and I know an open door to one of the bigger unknowns in the world of entertainment. And he's like, I'm good. Thoughts?
Okay, but Jimmy, see, here's what you're forgetting. Okay, that is true. And I think that Chris really does want to dive in and take a huge bite out of that aspect. But CM Punk comes across looking like $1 million damn in this thing, and Chris absolutely does not want to be party to anything that might make him gain a modicum of respect for one Phil. So he,
you know what I've seen so
staying
far
away
in that?
from WWE Unreal.
I saw Phil get into the Royal Rumble and get injured and then get back on the bench. So, like, that's what I saw. That's what I took from that. So, Phil didn't get any respect from me.
So, Kate, you are a film buff aficionado. You've been on many podcasts, many TV shows as well that we've talked about. As a TV show in general, your thoughts on, did this hook you? And do you what more do you want to see?
Well, I really also, I agree with Chris. I love the documentary style format of anything that's produced very well. And so I think that definitely hooked me in. The thing that I would like to see more of, and it isn't so much the booking of the cities or extortion plot lines. I mean, I get it. But I think what I'd really like to see is, like, I want to know how many people it takes to set up just a Friday night SmackDown. Like, how long does it take to set that up? What is the booking process? The number of human beings who are employed by the WWE. I know that the writing is more than 3 people. Writing like that is always more than 3 people, and so, like, I'd love to see an actual writer's room. So I mean, there are some other things, and I'd like to know a few more of the backstories of some of the characters. But I'm not invested in so many of the storylines, so I can understand not wanting to have so much of that spoiled. I often wonder if, like, soap operas, right? Like the traditional soap operas that were in the 80s and 90s, if social media existed then, like, would they have had as big of a following as they did because they've fallen off? Because did people really want to know about the backstories of Stefano?
It's Stefano de Bergerac, no question.
He died 8 times. Like, so you need to know, like, you don't want to know all of the backstories. So I think that I can understand where Chris is coming from. I do, because I like that relatability.
So, Chris, are you someone who likes to watch, like, the making of documentaries of movies, or do you not like that either? I'm just fascinated right now.
It depends on the movie more than anything else, I think. Like, I haven't watched many, the making of, unless it's specifically about, hey, this is how we do these special effects, maybe. But up past that, no.
Okay. So, Rod, we have to be careful about calling this a documentary because, you know, there are different levels of documentary. There is we're going to pay you to do this, and we're going to have right of first refusal on scripts and things like that. We're going to have you just come in and do it, and you have all creative control. We saw the Bill Simmons documentary on Vince McMahon, which had a lot more creative control over it than I think the WWE wanted them to have. We are seeing what they want us to see still, though, right, Rod?
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to my late father, Rod Morgan Sr., who one time when I was the junior high age kid, whatever, talking about an interview with somebody on a sports center or maybe a late night local sports, because you used to have to watch late night local sports to get highlights when you and I were youngster, Jim. That's how old we are. But anyway, he told me, son, remember, every time they're giving you an answer like that, they know what the camera is on them, right? There's not actually one time where somebody that lives their life in the camera doesn't understand that they're not being recorded. So you and I as wrestling fans have to go into every scenario that we attempt to break down with a grain of salt, understanding that they can tell us that this is the truth, but we know that the truth probably isn't what they're portraying to us, because it rarely ever is what the WWE is portraying to us. So I think that they did enough. The one thing I liked an awful lot is I always had in my head that guys would get out in the ring and kind of plan out how to do a match. And we did get to see that sort of happened a little bit. So I did like that, but I'm with Kate. I really would be intrigued, like if they showed us, right, like an empty arena as it's dark, right? And then all of a sudden you see all these lights pulling up, right? How many semis is it? Is it 18 semis? Is it 21 semis? You know what I mean? How many people get out? How many hours does it take them? I think they missed at least a good 5-10 minute segment they could have done on that.
So, Kate, you mentioned Rhea Ripley a little bit, and she did kind of do that in the backstage when she was talking to Damian Priest, one of our favorites, where she was like, okay, she's going to get me. I'm going to throw her. I'm going to go down on the ground. I'm going to do a hip toss. Did that kind of bring you in a little bit? And then talk a little bit about, that scenario. And then what made you change? You didn't change your mind, but what made you have more respect or admiration for Rhea Ripley during this show?
She wasn't wearing makeup. Right. So like you're looking at that. She is so beautiful without makeup, and she looks just so approachable, so much more approachable. And there was something just in and of that. And she talks a lot about her anxiety, and I appreciate that. And that I think most people do, because I think most people have anxiety, and there are times when we can turn it off, and there are times when we can't. So I found that super relatable. And yeah, I mean, I think that her discussing the moves and what that was going to look like showcases a little bit more of the athleticism that I think sometimes gets lost when people talk about wrestling. And I think it's really respectful, like it's respectable, I should say. Like, I just think it's amazing what they can do with their bodies and how they can protect one another's bodies to a certain degree. I mean, they talk about the injuries and that sort of thing, but how they're respecting that piece of it too, I think is really important. But I have a question for you all as you're talking about the characters and like what you want to see, or they're showing you what they want you to see, and on wrestling in general, they're telling you the story they want to tell you. Like, can you ever trust a wrestler? Like, can you trust any story that, and it's funny, right? It's a funny question, but it's also a really honest one. I mean, is there anything trustworthy about what is coming across to us as viewers?
Chris.
Kate, you can always trust Drew McIntyre because he only speaks the truth.
Okay, so thank you for that, Chris. It's wonderful. I will say this. Over the past even couple of weeks, I would say, Rod, they have tried to blur those lines a lot more, okay? We had an injury to Liv Morgan in the ring. That was a real injury, and she's going to be out for a while. And then we had Seth Rollins, who went as far as to go downtown on crutches, go on the Rich Eisen TV or show and podcast on crutches, and fool us all because no one knew that was happening. We have the Karrion Kross angle right now, Kate, which someone has said they've been fired from the WWE, but is he really? I will say this, Kate, Naomi's pregnant. I will say that right now, Naomi is pregnant. I believe that.
Jimmy, here's the other thing about it, right?
In 3 years, though, maybe not. Maybe they'll just say someone's pregnant, and they come out and win the Royal Rumble.
Yep, that could happen too.
Jimmy, but this is like, you and I talk about this all the time, right? Wrestlers, they can't be believed, right? Whether
they
it's
work the work.
Whether it's the fact that they want to find that other area of entertainment, whether it's the fact that they get lost in their own story and they can't tell the difference between real life and kayfabe anymore, right? I mean, the great Hulk Hogan. Now, I say Hulk Hogan because I think we've all determined that Terry Bollea is someone that could be spoken about differently than Hulk Hogan, the wrestling character, right?
Sure.
And the great Hulk Hogan always was in the ring, and you knew what you were going to expect from Hulk Hogan, right? You absolutely knew what you were going to expect from Hulk Hogan, but you never knew what you're going to expect from Hulk Hogan in interviews at the end of his career. He never told one story the same way 2 or 3 times over. You know what I mean? So like, you just absolutely could not believe anything he said. And so here's the guy that every single person associates with wrestling more than any other character that's ever come down the pipe, right? You have somebody on the street right now who's a wrestler that you know, they might name Hulk Hogan before they name anybody else. And that guy hasn't told the truth in years. So that doesn't help wrestlers either.
Cody Rhodes has a podcast now, and they went into, I think it was Cody Rhodes. Yeah, with Bill Simmons, actually. They went into some conspiracies where the infamous Montreal screw job, where Bret Hart didn't know what was going to happen at the end. And Cody's like, well, I mean, there was a documentary crew in the back, and they've never done that before. You know, just kind of going back to Chris's and his conspiracies as to what would happen. Chris, I don't know if you've gotten to this point yet, and then I'm going to have Kate ask us another question, I think. But have you seen the part where they're all talking about the Royal Rumble, and one of the writers says, well, first of all, everyone says CM Punk should win, and then someone says, well, what about Jey Uso? Someone says 28 and 29 should eliminate each other, and the 30th person should come out, and it's Chelsea Green, and she wins the Royal Rumble. How great would that have been?
I would have loved every second of that. That would have been as great as R-Truth winning the Women's Rumble somehow.
Another thing,
Chris?
R-Truth. Excellent
you watch
job.
Unreal, you'd get moments like this, but no, you're too good to watch Unreal.
Yeah, he doesn't want to watch Unreal. Okay, what other questions do you have?
Okay, so first of all, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy Unreal, Jimmy?
I enjoyed Unreal a lot. I really enjoy it. I listen to a lot of the dirt sheet podcasts, if you will, and things like that. I like the behind the scenes stories. I think that's really interesting to see what happens and how it comes together. Now, again, I know that we're seeing what they want us to see, but I did enjoy watching The Rock and how they framed the whole Rock John Cena heel turn as to how it came about. And then how they just pivoted away from it because something happened between The Rock, WWE, and Travis Scott. I thought that was fascinating, and they didn't even get into it, but you knew a lot of stuff happened because they didn't get into it.
Yeah, it's good storytelling. Like it was just, I just
Very.
enjoy that storytelling piece and how that comes to be because any good story has a backstory of its own. So I like that they did that. But was there a part of you that was thinking like, because you know that you're seeing what they want you to see, that what you're watching is propaganda, like that you're like,
of course,
and you're okay with it, like because
yeah,
I'm okay with
it's fine.
it, but I'm not a super fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, what they showed us is what it's like back there. We'll look at it this way. Remember, we're going to go old school here. MTV's The Real World, okay? First season of The Real World. I was like, I think in New York or something. I mean, it was really, and it was real. They had cameras in there and they just let them go. By the 38th season of The Real World, they were throwing in storylines. They had 50 writers, This is what we're going to kind of see with Unreal. Okay. We're going to definitely see if this Karrion Kross thing at all is a work. We're going to see that in an Unreal. We're going to see the Naomi going up and telling Hunter that she's pregnant. We're going to see all that kind of stuff moving forward because they're just going to continue to build on this realism because that's what people like. That's what the shows are most popular. There are so many shows that are still on. Survivor. I don't know. Heard of it? It's on season 517. Yes, I know we have a show on Survivor.
We used to anyway.
Yeah, well, you guys didn't want to do it anymore.
Jimmy, another great part of the show is the match producers. I really enjoyed seeing because you and I have spoken plenty of times about Bruce Pritchard and Hunter about how they're kind of like 1 and 2 at the top of the heap. They're kind of deciding how things go, but then each match has an individual producer that then sits in another part of Gorilla and is helping the cameraman say, okay, they're going to go over here for a moonsault. Make sure you get on the manager. You know what I mean? Like I found that really, really cool. And some of those match producers were pretty compelling figures, but why didn't my guy Bobby Roode get a feature, huh, Jimmy? We got to see him, and they said his name a couple of times, but Bobby Roode didn't really get to sit down in front of the camera quite like some of the other boys did. I was disappointed in that.
Because Abyss was a paranoid and crying and sorry all the time and was a better character. That's the only reason. Bobby Roode is more straight-laced and doesn't worry as much as Abyss did there, or Joseph Park, should I say. Chris, what did you like? Did you like about that? Did you like the gorilla position? Because it really kind of showed you as a brand new fan how it works back there.
No.
You didn't like it.
That tracks.
I watch a great fight. Wrestling, movie, whatever you want to have, talk to me about. I want to watch the great fight. I don't necessarily need to see the fight choreographer explaining the fight to everybody else around.
That's fascinating. Okay.
Like, I want to watch the fight.
You understand that we host a podcast, though, where
yes.
we come on and we try to explain to people about football and wrestling. Like, you understand that, like, people explaining things is like it happens in the world, right?
Yes. And this is how I like to enjoy. Don't judge me on how I want to enjoy my sports.
No, we do judge you a lot.
Listen, that's all right because I judge Rod constantly on this podcast many times tonight. But like, yeah,
okay,
I won't
you don't watch sports documentaries then?
Oh, yeah, I will. Especially, but I'm not big on Hard Knocks.
Okay.
I'm not big on on a whole lot of things unless it's specifically about one of my teams.
So is your problem that WWE is currently going on? Like if this was a WWE Unreal and they showed you stuff from the Mega Powers Explode during 88 and 89, would you be into it more? Like, do you not like this because it's a little too current?
Yeah, I would probably enjoy it more because to me that is a completely different wrestling universe almost, right? Like I know it's not, but like it really is. I mean, you know how old I am.
I think you're crazy, but that's fair.
You made a comment though while we were watching it about like, oh, I'm glad this happened. Like that I already knew about this or that this happened because spoilers would have been.
Yeah, I don't want it spoiled for me.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that just throws everything out. Yeah.
Or like Kate was bringing up the soap operas part, right? Like that's the thing you get to realize when you get to where I am, right? Like I know the dirt sheets exist. I know that I can find out so many of these things, but I don't look into them because I still like the surprise. Now, do I want to analyze it and do my own fantasy booking? Of course I do, but I still love the surprise.
Yeah, and I purposely don't go into social media necessarily or articles about wrestling because I don't want to be surprised. I want to be able to get mad because I know this stuff exists, but I want to be able to get mad, blame Triple H or blame the managers of SmackDown or Raw and throw some hatred at them because they're the corporate ineptitude people in charge. Like let me throw some of that heat that way. So I don't want to see everything and know everyone's just working together all the time. I know it does. I know it exists. I just don't need that in my face because that's going to take some of my enjoyment out of it.
See, I think that like watching the choreography of it all, like when I talk about more of the logistics, that's part of it for me. Like that's something that I really enjoyed and it plays into the athleticism that I mentioned earlier. I think it is amazing how two people can be in a ring and do these brutal moves and not severely injure one another and how they're protecting one another. I find that fascinating. Again, not a huge fan and all of the, you know, the storylines and the ongoing pieces and that kind of thing. So I understand how I can take myself out of it there, but I loved that. Like I just think it's amazing what they're able to do and actually walk out of the ring at the end of most matches.
I just think we need stickers printed up, Jimmy, that say corporate ineptitude people in charge. I think that could really be a market.
That's going to be our shirt. That'll be our first shirt. Yeah. Corporate ineptitude. And honestly, it goes through all facets of life too, not just wrestling. So
that's what I'm saying. It could be huge.
Yeah. We could hashtag corporate ineptitude. I would like to, you know, as far as spoilers goes, I don't want spoilers at all in this. I don't want that in Unreal. I think it would be cool though to sit in on that meeting where Paul Heyman is talking with Triple H and Bruce Pritchard and all those about WrestleMania next year or 2 years from now or 3 years from now, because he said that they've been doing that more now that the new regime is in, to see what they're thinking. Okay, in 2 years, we're going to have Braun Breaker and we're going to have Roman Reigns wrestle for the World Championship at WrestleMania. How do we get there? And I think that is interesting. And then, you know, if you have that, which we might get that at one day, but what happens if something happens, they have to go a different way? Like, Chris, when CM Punk got hurt in the Rumble. CM Punk was supposed to go against Rollins for that world championship, and then he got hurt, and he couldn't make it. So what do you do then? I that's the stuff I find fascinating, because these are human beings. These are people. You know, what do we do when Naomi comes to you? Just like in any facet, you know, Kate, you work with people. I've worked with hundreds of people, thousands of people. When they come to you and say, I will not be here tomorrow or the next month because of these reasons, how do you go and then figure out what path you're going? I think that's fascinating.
Logistics.
Yeah. We hate them, but they're fun. No.
I love logistics. I want all of those things. I want the planning piece of it. Yeah, I think that would be fascinating.
Jimmy Jim, I got to shout out Phil one again here real quick before we move on from WWE Unreal, because I had it in my brain that this guy was a backstage diva, that he was difficult to get involved with, that he was running around not talking to people, that he was, you know, it's going to be this way. That's not going to work for me, brother. Right. Again, to quote the great Hogan, I kind of thought that was the way Punk worked backstage. And to see him going back and like, he's nervous before the match, to see him asking Hunter, was that good? Was that good? You know, and like, didn't really mind that he got beat, understood that it was best for the story. Like, I'm sorry, Chris, you'd be disappointed in me again. I gained even more respect for Phil coming out of WWE Unreal.
Are you sure that's not how he is actually backstage, Rod?
Very good point, Jimmy.
Because they're showing us what they want us to see. And Chris, what did you think about Triple H and how he worked with everybody?
I didn't see anything different than what I've been shown on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, and I think that they really want you to come out of this showing that, Triple H is really awesome and he's the person that everyone goes to. And, again, propaganda, I believe was what Kate said. And as long as you know that it's propaganda, I think, you could, this is not news. This is not this is not real life. This is wrestling, and they're showing it to you. Again, we've got to remember that.
Didn't you say
there's
a week
another
or so
sticker.
ago,
This is not real life.
It's a work or to work?
Working the shoot or shooting the work, and working the work. It's just everything that you see is meant to be seen.
It's not real life. It's wrestling. Is another sticker, Jimmy.
Yes. You guys want to hit on a couple of things from Raw, or do you want to just sign off? We're doing this live, so it's fine.
We gotta listen. What do you got for Raw? Bring it on. What do you got? What question you have? About
Okay.
Seth
Well,
Rollins
Kate.
and his
First of all,
greatness?
Kate, you can obviously stay as long as you want, but we do appreciate you stopping by and watching Unreal.
No, thank you guys so much for having me and letting me talk about this. And I had a lot of fun watching it. I love the documentary style things anyway. So please give me more of those things because I think it's a way to attract tertiary viewers is what I'm calling myself because I'm not even on the second rung. So thanks for having me.
Yes. Kate and Katie are very similar where they know way too much about wrestling and they don't want to.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Yes.
Thank you, Kate.
Yes. So coming out of Raw, we found out a few things. We found out that Naomi is pregnant and that wrestling fans, Chris, are awesome and they gave a Baby Uso chant. Let's do this. Wrestling fans, check mark. Good job, boys and girls.
Right? Sometimes they get it right. That was a phenomenal segment.
I thought that was great, especially when she says, I'm going to come back with my breastfeeding baby and beat all your asses. Rod, I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, man. Listen, I would love to see someone beat the Rhea Ripley with one arm. I would love to see someone holding a baby take a Io Sky moonsault. That would be something to check out. Let's go.
We're not really sure what's going to happen after that because she kicked out Adam Pearce and just put the belt on the ground and left on her own accord. We wish her nothing but the best. Something else we found out, that Tommy Dreamer is not dead, but should be. Classic Paul Heyman there, gentlemen.
I love that. I have to ask you guys, I was like, is there something with Tommy Dreamer I don't understand? And no, it was just the fact that we all love Tommy Dreamer because it looked like he died every time he ever wrestled.
Just a rib, Chris. Just a rib. Do you know who Tommy Dreamer is, Chris?
I've ran across him a couple times, but that was in a former life.
For those of you who are new to wrestling, go back and watch this Tommy Dreamer, Raven, Sandman, all that kind of stuff in ECW. Tommy Dreamer at one point was the pretty boy, and it took a kendo stick beating for him to get the respect of the ECW fans because he kept saying, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" And bloodbath ensued. It was pretty cool. Yeah. We also kind of found out, not through WWE, but from other sources, that the WWE is going to run a premium live event on Saturday, September 20th to go against AEW's big premium live event on the same day. And that premium live event will be in Indianapolis, Indiana, and will feature John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Guys, how awesome is that?
It's pretty awesome, except I'm like, man, how much money am I going to have to shell out now to get down to Indianapolis for this fight between Cena and Lesnar? Because, man, if there's going to be a premium live event in my town during John Cena's final years, I have to go. But then again, Kate's going to say to me, well, Rod, you went to Royal Rumble, which was his final Royal Rumble. So, but listen, anytime the Hoosier State gets a little bit of shine, I'm in. Anytime you give me a premium live event, I'm in. Anytime Hunter and the boys are sticking a thumb in the eye of the Janitors League, let's go.
So, Chris, I asked the kids, I said, all right, we can drive 5 hours to go see that on Saturday, or we can go see the Colts and Titans play in Tennessee on Sunday. What do you think they picked?
Ooh, I bet you they picked wrestling.
Did you ask
Izzy was like, Izzy, Izzy was like, "There's no question we're going to the wrestling. There's no question." And I loved her. I love her so much for that. And Jackson too. They were both like, "Oh no, we're going to wrestling."
Was that pre or post Danny Dimes? My question.
That was pre Danny Dimes.
Oh, they made the right call.
Yeah, right now both of the Richardson jerseys are looking pretty nice. They're right up to next to my Fields jerseys.
Jimmy Jam, ouch.
Yeah,
I still believe in 5, Jimmy. I believe in 5, just like I believe in Seth Rollins, okay? I wasn't here last week. I got my Seth Rollins t-shirt on now. I love seeing him run shop at the end of every Raw. I do wish that maybe we could see a clean finish. I love that you guys talked about that last week, that we just have disqualification after disqualification these days. Chris is Zach Morris right now, taking a call from the future. This is absolutely fabulous. But Seth's not losing the belt, Jimmy, and that's why I'm incredibly excited, because there's no chance that Seth Rollins is going to lose a match where there's no rules, because he has guys on the outside of the ring. So,
well, and the other 3 guys, LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso, are too stupid to say, "Hey, why don't we just beat him up and beat the other 2 guys up? Make sure they're underneath like 60 announce tables, and then we'll just wrestle." It's not hard, guys. Not hard. Just go and do it.
But we were announced that we got the tribal chief himself is going to take on the tribal thief. It'll be the Ulafala versus the Shulafala. That came up during the credits.
Yes, Reigns and Bronson will fight in Paris. What a terrific spear by Roman Reigns. You think, Braun Breaker, you can spear people? I'm the tribal chief. Right, Rod?
Yeah, but I'll tell you, speaking of spears from that match, though, I think when Jey Uso tried to pull that one on Braun Breaker, I think he caught the worst of it, man. Look, he looked like a sack of potatoes after he hit off of Braun on that one. My goodness.
Braun Breaker is a solid individual, but Jey Uso got the win, which triples down that he ain't coming out of Paris with the title.
Oh, yeah, there's no chance that he's not the guy laying on his back. You called that early, so he's definitely going to be the guy on his back taking a pin to Seth Rollins after some sort of nefarious stuff that makes CM Punk even more mad and continues to drive this story of when we finally get Punk v. Rollins one-on-one blood feud, or Roman versus Rollins one-on-one blood feud. We could go either way, Jimmy, and that's what's great about what we got going right now.
So AJ Styles flies to Australia to stop a match. Then he flies to Mexico to stop a match. I love that they're continuing the storyline out of nowhere. I think it's great. Dominic was the most over person at Triple Mania, which was Triple A's WrestleMania, if you will. And he was so over. The fans wanted him to win. They did not want their own guy, Vikingo, to win. But they don't like Vikingo for other reasons as well. So I just think that's kind of cool that they're continuing that storyline along.
I think it's absolutely great that Dom continues to get over. I think that's going to mean big things for us on the WWE roster. I think that's going to mean good things for Corey Graves, right, who continues to get a little bit of shine for being the guy who gets to call these AAAs and then continues to do Raw. And, Jimmy, you can talk to me all you want about Dom and El Grande and Viking, but I think – yeah, there you go. I think the biggest thing to come out of AAA is Demonito. Am I right? I mean, come on. It's got to be Demonito, doesn't it?
$100 for that Demonito puppet. WWE is amazing. Now with the lizard puppet.
He's an iguana,
Jimmy. He's an iguana. Sorry, did I say? I'm sorry. I messed up, Mr.
Just show
Iguana.
Respect.
My bad.
That's all I'm trying to do. We have
lots
of iguanas that listen. All right, we have lots of iguanas that listen. We're big in desert populations.
We're huge in Mexico. So, Mr. Iguana, everyone wanted to buy that at Triple Mania, and the delivery didn't come in to sell them.
Oh, no.
That is why WWE is coming in, honestly. It really is, to make sure that that's all taken care of, wrap that stuff up, and get that. Because the worst thing you can do is not sell something to someone else because you don't have it.
Yes. Yes. The whole idea behind this entertainment enterprise is to have merch that goes along with it. That's why your favorite band sells it at their concerts. That's why you can go to a Broadway play and get merch. You know what I mean? That's why your favorite TV show has a website that you can get merch from, right? Like, merch is a way to bring in revenue. We all understand that in 2025. So for you to be able to have all of these people in one location ready to buy your product and you don't have it, there's no worse failure in 2025 than that, Jimmy. You're absolutely right.
Chris, your thoughts on Mr. Iguana?
I think if you don't have the merchandise, like Rod says, you're just leaving money on the table, and that leads me to ask the question: Rod, have you bought Charlotte's little doll yet?
I have not. But listen, if Charlotte wants to serve me a doll, if Charlotte wants to come up with the new T-shirt with her wearing the Alexa Bliss pigtails, whatever it is, I'm all in on the Queen. I've been all in on the Queen since day one. When I first came back to this podcast, Charlotte Flair was the biggest star they had. And now they tried to get rid of her, and she keeps coming back even stronger, Chris. So, yes, serve me up all the Charlotte Flair merch, and I will take it. I'll put the doll right up here, right next to the John Cena towel.
Yeah, you can get a lot of different dolls on, but Demonito, $99.99 is the most popular item.
Why didn't they bring it out on Raw, Jimmy?
I'm shocked they didn't. I don't understand why they wouldn't. It was right there for them. Finn Balor looks like he's having a ton of fun. You can also buy a signed Finn Balor Demonito photo for $69.99.
Oh, nice. The other big moment at Triple Mania, though, Jimmy, it's good to see Omos back.
Omos against Microman, who, by the way, has won that event before. He's won that before because you can't really throw him over. That was odd.
I'll take it. Anything that gets Omos on camera, I'll take.
Chris, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley against Asuka and Kairi Sane. I think we're getting that. I think we're getting it at Paris. I'm all for it. How about you?
Yeah, right. Listen, I'm going to watch everything that Io Sky does anymore. She has proven herself to be one of the most exciting wrestlers in the business right now. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Doesn't matter to me who she's fighting.
And, Rod, I should have asked Kate this, Rod, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to ask you. The physics of Rhea Ripley's outfit on Monday night. Whoever the seamstress is fantastic because that was rock solid.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how we didn't have a wardrobe malfunction there. Shout out to Rhea, shout out to Io, and shout out to Asuka, all right? After Asuka just kind of like running around and like seeming like a weird kabuki doll who's smiling all the time, give me angry Asuka ready to beat some ass. So I
think she's ready. I love it.
And I'm down for this. And then let Kairi Sane take the Asuka role where like I'm just doing weird facial looks and moving the story along and like shrugging my shoulders, and that's fine for Kairi Sane. I want Asuka beating people down.
Couple quick notes before we head out too. Bayley. So I think we're going to get, and I was listening to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer, and I think this is what we're getting. So we're getting, she's got the hugger Bayley in her head, but then also people hate you. So she's going to kind of, as the opposite of hugger Bayley, whatever that is, she's going to come back as that. And give me more Bayley. I think she's ready to go as far as where she wants to be in the ring. Let's get that character going and let's go. Ever since she won that Rumble, she's kind of gone downhill because they didn't do much with her. I want to see Bayley back.
You can take the kind of out of that sentence, Jimmy. They have done nothing with her since she won that Rumble, evidenced by the fact that they just booted her out of SummerSlam. Now that was for Becky Lynch, right? That wasn't for somebody lower on the card than her. So sure. I guess you can at least say it that way. But the women need heels. We need heels, especially with Naomi now taking off on maternity leave. Mm-hmm. Charlotte is no longer playing the heel role because she's with Alexa. So, yes, give me Bayley coming back. Give me Bayley being evil. She can go up against Liv. She can go up against Io. She can go up against Lyra. There's so many people that she can play the foil to as a heel. I'm all for it.
Chris.
Yeah, sure. I'm up and down on Bayley. I really am.
Yeah. Okay. And that's fine.
I definitely did not enjoy the Party Crashers. Okay, so I didn't enjoy that Bayley. I enjoyed her a little bit more this last time around, but I still was kind of up in the air. I don't think they have put her in good situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as stories go. So give me something new. Maybe I'll enjoy it.
Maxine Dupree got an Intercontinental Championship match, for goodness sakes. We can't do something for Bayley? Come on.
And then finally, Penta and Xavier Woods, I think they had a solid match. It was fun. Penta, they just kind of need to figure out where they want to go with him and just take him there. I think he does need a title here eventually. Let's get him going. But I do want to talk about Natalya for a little bit before we leave. And that's something I didn't think I would say, but Chris, I'm not sure how familiar you are with this, but Natalya outside of WWE at Triple Mania, and then she's also wrestled in Bloodsport, has this new look, and it's the low-key legend. I think it's Natty. She just goes by Natty Neidhart, where she has her. It's more of a Ronda Rousey-esque, where the hair's pulled back. She's in black. She's in a fighter's motif. Rod, I love that. And when I saw that we were going to have Natty and Becky. I thought that's who we were going to get, but we got all glitz and glamour Natty. That does not work.
No, it doesn't. And here's what I wonder, and Chris can actually speak to this a little bit because I know that Chris is a tad bit more familiar with Natalya than you'd understand, because I think he is a bit of a fan of some of her social media work. And so Natalie's social media work feeds in a little closer with what she was wearing in the ring on Monday Night Raw than her social media work fits in with the low-key legend Natty Neidhart. But I'm with you. Wrestling is more about your family name than it is about anything else, and she's got a pretty darn good one, so lean into that.
Chris. No, give me Natty Neidhart. I have not seen her as this person. I also, you should know me, Rod, I don't have social media, right? So I just know her family lineage. I know that she holds the record for most submissions by a female wrestler in WWE history. I know she is a veteran in the locker room, and I've been a fan of hers for a while. And all she does is go out and lose and make other people look good. And so give me this Natty Neidhart, who's a serious fighter, and let me see her get like the Women's Intercontinental belt or the U.S. title on her.
Rod, Natty Neidhart debuted on April 4th, 2008.
Wow.
And I don't think she's ever been gone.
No, I don't think. I mean, we don't see her very often. She kind of comes and goes. Yeah. She doesn't have to service TV every week. But whenever they want to, prop up the newbie, right? They kind of bring Natalya out to fight him, or they bring Natalya in to kind of coach him and do a couple of tag team matches with them. That's been her gimmick for a long time. She's kind of like the female Miz in a lot of ways. They're not. She doesn't quite have the in-ring promo skills that the Miz does, right? You don't see Natty running her hand as a host of a lot of other random reality shows, but like, the role they fit as a locker room person, and the first guy kind of like the Glass Joe, right? Like we all remember Glass Joe from Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That's what Natty and the Miz are.
All right, gentlemen. With that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris.
And listen, DiManito was cool, all right, and Finn Balor's having an awful lot of fun, but it's really pretty disgusting that Finn Balor still has 0 singles wins in 2025, all right? Let's do something here.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Goodbye, Net. Yeah. My internet stayed the whole show.